Hello, hello. I'm Jerry Cates. Welcome to Empowered Woman Live. So today we're talking about stressful relationships and self-regulation. So do you ever feel like you're giving everything to others and have nothing left for yourself? Do certain conversations or relationships leave you feeling anxious, off balance, or completely drained? Have you ever promised yourself you'd set a better boundary, but didn't? You're not alone. You're not alone. Let me just normalize this a little bit. You're not alone. Today, I want to show you how to stop the spiral, regulate your nervous system, and reclaim your peace of mind, even when the people around you are acting out. Okay? So there's a hidden cost of chronic relationship stress. Many women don't realize how much emotional labor they carry. Stressful relationships quietly erode your energy, confidence, and sense of self. The biggest problem, or the havoc created, is you second guess yourself constantly. You walk on eggshells to avoid conflict, or you feel resentful but guilty for feeling that way. Ever felt any of that? Any of those things? So the solution is recognize the energetic leaks and reclaim your boundaries, not with confrontation, but with clarity and compassion. And what makes this possible? Emotional or feeling emotionally lighter, or what this makes possible. What happens out of this? You feel emotionally lighter and have more mental clarity. You have healthier boundaries, more authentic conversations. Making decisions from alignment instead of reaction, right? Instead of reactivity. Right. And maybe you've had this experience. There's someone in your life that every time you have a conversation with them, you feel drained. And that's what I'm talking about. Those conversations where you can feel your energies just leaking out. And I used to feel this way with my ex-husband. And once I learned to ground myself first and enter the conversation from clarity instead of obligation, right? So getting grounded is powerful. It's really powerful. So notice one relationship where you feel drained. We're first going to take a look at it. And then write down what you need, not what they need. Give yourself permission to honor it. So, hey, I want to say hi to Terrell and Melissa. Hello. We are talking about stressful relationships and self-regulation. So I talked a little bit about the hidden cost of chronic relationship stress. And now let's talk about self-regulation, the reset. So before you can change a relationship dynamic, you need to learn how to regulate your internal world in real time. Say that again. Before you can change a relationship dynamic, you need to learn how to regulate your internal world in real time. The biggest problem is you react instead of respond, or your nervous system stays on high alert. Ever felt that? That limbic system firing up, and it doesn't calm down. It's harder to calm it down once you let it get fired up. And then you say things you don't mean, or you shut down completely. Ever done that? I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. So I just want to normalize it some so we can take a look at it and we don't have to be hard on ourselves for it. And so what's the solution? Use a somatic self-regulation tool to anchor into calm before and during stressful conversations. So it's like coming prepared, right? You know you're going to have a stressful conversation. If you can take the time to get yourself grounded first, that conversation is going to go so much better, because you're not going to be in reaction. You're not going to make it worse. Plus, the way you show up in this new way of being, you're showing others how to show up, right? With calm and with peace. So what makes this possible? or what that makes possible, using this somatic self-regulation. Somatic is body, self-regulation tool. So what happens when you do that? Calm, clear communication, even under pressure. Just imagine. And then feeling safe inside your body. I want to say that when you do simply just take deep breaths, we're going to do some breath work here in a moment. But when you simply just take a deep breath, inhale and exhale, and maybe a couple more times, when you slow down your breathing, it sends a message to your body that you're safe, right? It calms things down. It's like, oh, she's safe. We're good, right? So it helps you feel safe inside your body. We get caught up in these emotional things, and it fries our nervous system when we're constantly on high alert, and it's hard to calm down. So we have to reprogram those old, their habits. It's their habits. Maybe you're used to fighting and arguing all the time, and it makes you feel a certain way, and it's a habit. So we got to change the habit, right? And we can do that by getting ourselves calmed down first, right? Being able to self-regulate. And it helps you clear. I know I stopped in the middle of somewhere. Hold on a second. You may say things you don't mean. What makes it possible. Excuse me. Calm, clear communication, even under pressure. There it is. Feeling safe inside your body and trusting yourself to navigate conflict powerfully. Once you have a couple of experiences under your belt of you being able to just stay calm, it is so powerful. And when you do that, it gives you the skill or the reference point of, oh, I can go be this way. I can go be calm. I can take a deep breath. I have something in my throat here. Excuse me. So let's do this simple breath thing. If you don't even need to close your eyes or anything. So we're going to inhale on the count of 4 and hold it for 4 counts. And then I want you to exhale on 6 counts because I really want you to empty your lungs. And then as soon as you're empty, go ahead and inhale again. You're going to want to. So inhale 1, 2, 3, 4 and hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4 and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to do it with you. So inhale and hold it and exhale. And just from that one breath, I could feel this wave of relaxation going down my body. And that's what we're after. You can simply just take a breath. I know I was doing a product launch one time and nothing was going right. I couldn't get online. It was a Zoom call. Nothing was going right. And I finally get on and now I'm flustered and I've got to deliver this class. So it was almost like I had just closed my eyes. I took a big breath and exhaled, and it was almost like I straightened my crown, stood up tall, and then opened my eyes and moved forward. It was such a powerful thing to do, and it was such a powerful thing to model for the other women that were there, that when you're in, all this chaos, that you can actually be grounded, that it's up to you. You get to decide how you want to feel, right? When we're upset with someone or resentful or whatever it is, we're giving up our power. So this is us taking our power back, right? Dropping down into your body. I like to call it down in the hip area. If you can imagine just dropping down into your body to your hip area, that's your power center. And feminine power, which is the principles and practices that I teach, that's your power center. And so can you imagine if you can, now I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. So close your eyes, take a big breath, and then move your awareness down your body, just paying attention all the way down your body to your hips and just settle right in there. And just letting go of everything that's happened so far today and just being in that place of peace. Now I want you to go back up to your head and think about the busy things that have been going on today. Have to do this for so-and-so. Got to go here, got to go there. Feel that pulling in every direction, and take a nice deep breath. And we're going to go back down again, down, down, down. down to that pelvic bowl, just kind of laying back and resting in that safe space. And you can open your eyes. So what I just did there was taught you, if you could feel the difference between being in your head and all the craziness and dropping down to that place of peace, I just gave you that experience of dropping down into peace from chaos. And you can use that again, right? When things are blowing up in front of you, when, life seems to be chaotic, it's your cue to take a deep breath and drop down into your body. And, you get to where you don't even need to close your eyes to drop down into your body, just taking a breath, and I'm just moving my awareness down into my body, getting really grounded. The beauty of tapping into your body is that's where all your emotions are, right? We hold them in our body. And when you drop down into your body and you connect in a grounded way, you can explore those emotions, or, your emotions are going to be more grounded, but you can explore them more easily and really take a look at what's happening here and get curious, right? Okay, so let's see. Action step. Okay, we did the breathing. Practice this technique every morning or anytime tension arises. It only takes about 30 seconds. So really, it's just taking a deep breath, and you can inhale through your nose, which I tend to do, and exhale through your mouth, but doing it as a practice, like I was telling my doctor that I have a holistic doctor, and I was telling him I was having some anxiety over some things, and he invited me to do deep breaths periodically throughout the day. So I set my alarm for 4 different times a day to remind me to take those deep breaths, to be here now, right? To check out in that moment. Am I present, or I'm worried about the past, or am I worried about the future? I want to be present here in the moment. So, and that's a skill you can take with you. That is a skill you can take with you. Just breathing, taking a breath, getting grounded, taking a moment before you go do something. I've told the story before, I'll tell it again. So I did some mirror work. I had this job back in 1987, and I was in Oakland, California. And I was uncomfortable with how the boss treated the other employees. She yelled at him all the time. She wasn't yelling at me, but it still made me really uncomfortable until the day she started yelling at me. And that really upset me. So I would go, it was so chaotic on that job. I would get to work, and then I would do, if anybody goes way back with meditation, Shakti Gawain's meditation. And I would sit there in the car and I would do this 20-minute meditation, and then I'd go into the office and be more grounded because I was being proactive. I knew that it could be challenging in there, and I wanted to make sure that I was as grounded as possible to manage it, right? To get through it, right? So I go in the bathroom, and I'm some of you may know about mirror work, like Louise Hay did mirror work, where you look in the mirror and you tell yourself, I love you. I love you. Well, way back in 81, when my son was born, I read this book, Think Slim, Be Slim, a university course in mental dieting. And she had mirror work in there. And you would say into the mirror, I like myself unconditionally. I like myself unconditionally. Well, you'd say it 3 times in the morning and 3 times at night. And I'm telling you, if you do that for 7 days, you will notice a difference in how you feel about yourself. Or 21, can you imagine? Well, my son and I, we upgraded it to I love myself unconditionally. But if you're more comfortable with I like myself right now, then that's cool. But we wanted to upgrade it to I love myself unconditionally. So there I am in the bathroom of this printing company with this couple that I'd been working for. I'm in the bathroom and I'm looking in the mirror, and I love myself unconditionally. I love myself unconditionally. And I must have been in there for, 5 minutes talking in the mirror. I don't even know if he could heard me, because I came out the door and I invited him to go I said, I'd like to have a meeting with you and Norma. And he was kind of caught off guard. And he said, well, sure. I go, well, can we have it in my office so we can have some privacy? And what I told him was, I really like you guys and I want to like working here, but lately it's hard and here's why. And then I depicted the things that were going on where people would want their orders and I can't fulfill them and they'd yell at me. She'd delay it or whatever. Anyway, they decided that I would handle retail and they would handle wholesale. So the next time a wholesale account called, a few days later, a wholesale account calls and they want their letterhead. And she says, oh, tell them it'll ship Monday. And I'm like, very sweetly said, Norma, that's I named I'm not going to name the firm, the law firm, but that's a wholesale account and you and Bill are handling wholesale. And then I walked away. I didn't do what she said. I kept my boundary. And what gave me the courage to do that mirror work, talking to myself in the mirror. So I kept my boundary. I can imagine the pillow talk between those two. Get rid of her, get rid of her. Because it wasn't long where, I think it was only a couple of weeks later, I got invited to leave. I got paid 3 weeks salary and my medical for that month. But he invited me to leave because I was going to hold the boundaries. And again, what gave me that courage? Getting myself grounded. Think of a relationship you have that you dread being around that person, or you get all fired up inside and anxious. There are some things you can do to calm that so that you can go through that exchange peacefully, grounded, not getting sucked in to their drama, right? So, I mean, that works if you're the one being calm and peaceful, right? Then you're not engaging in it. Okay. So what else do I want to tell you? Oh, I know. On that breathing, you can add, I am safe. I choose peace. So taking a big breath in and holding it and exhaling slow. I'm safe. I choose peace. Oh, that feels good. So practice this technique. You know, set your alarm, make a commitment. If you have a lot of anxiety, this is a great place to start. I would love to tell you about tapping. That's what I do also. But just this is something you always have in your pocket. You can always just take a nice deep breath. So now let's go from people pleasing to personal power. My page is upside down. So many women in midlife learn to survive by keeping the peace. Put a yes in the chat if that's been you. But what got you here won't get you where your soul is calling you to go, right? Keeping the peace isn't going to get your soul where it's yearning to go. The biggest problem, the havoc created, is you suppress your needs to avoid conflict. You suppress your needs. You attract one-sided relationships. Can you see that? Take a look at your relationships. You know, is it all about that person? It's not, there's not a mutual thing. Or you feel invisible or taken for granted. Ever feel that way in a relationship? Yes. Yes. So the solution is micro choices that affirm your worth and prioritize your well-being. And I'm always saying this, fall in love with the micro improvements. That's my coach, Eric Lofholm. Fall in love with the micro improvements. Do the little things. Pick one thing to do. Taking a deep breath. Starting your day with a deep breath. Having your alarms go off throughout the day. I like to make this nice chime sound. So I go, oh, it's time to take a breath. Time to get grounded. Something to help you be in the habit of it. Because we're already in the habit of that strained relationship. It's a habit. I mean, you got to admit it. It becomes a habit. The fighting, the arguing. We want to break that pattern, and we do that by showing up differently. By showing up differently. Let me say hello. Hey, Melissa. Hi, Jamie. And I got another Melissa and Terrell. Thank you for hanging around, girls. Okay, so where are we at? You feel invisible or taken for granted. Okay, so what's the solution? Micro choices that affirm your worth and prioritize your well-being. I like to say, show up as a woman who's loved. And I also like to say, take care of yourself well enough so that you feed others from your overflow. That is a Catherine Woodward Thomas quote, but it's just beautiful. So, I mean, think about that for a minute. If I'm taking really good care of myself, I'm going to be so much more for others rather than take care of them, take care of them, take care of them, leave me out. And then I feel depleted. So that's the shift we're making here, is prioritizing yourself, giving yourself permission to prioritize yourself. So when you do this, what that makes possible is you start being seen and heard. You're going to be seen and heard a whole lot more if we're not engaging and yelling, right? When somebody starts raising their voice, I would speak quieter. Just speak softer, because they'll lower their voice. You attract people who meet you in mutual respect. So if you're respecting yourself and setting boundaries, you're going to bring in others like that. And the ones that aren't respecting your boundaries, you're setting boundaries with them and they're finding out that behavior no longer works, right? When you change, the people around you change because what they're doing no longer works. Sometimes they get a little upset because they didn't get the memo that you're in this growth thing and you're shifting. So they might be a little upset at first, and we don't want to give them too much information, right? We don't want them to use it against us. That's just the habit they might be in. So, like I said, you start being seen and heard. You attract people that meet you in mutual respect, and you rebuild trust with yourself. Think about when you made a promise to yourself and you didn't follow through. Kind of erodes at your trust, right, for yourself. Or you made a boundary and you didn't follow through. So now, let's get on the other side of that. You made a boundary and you did follow through. It was scary. It was scary when you did it. But when you get on the other side, even after the other person that didn't get the memo is all upset or whatever, you stay calm. And on the other side, what happens is you build some respect out of that. I had a client whose husband was very controlling. Now, she ended up moving out of the house for a while and then did go back. But she went back with healthy boundaries. And his behaviors, there were certain behaviors that were no longer acceptable. And she shifted everything, but it was because she came in grounded. She was doing self-care. She didn't get sucked into his nonsense. You see what I'm saying? So if you're grounded, you can't be pulled so easily. It's when we're up high and emotional and reactive that we get pulled every way and we say things we regret. Have you ever said something you regret? I have. And I bet you have too. So let's talk about some small boundaries. Somebody asks you to do something, and they're always asking you to do something. And this is one of those that drains you and you want to shift it, right? So don't give them a lot of information. Just say, you can try this. Let me get back to you on that. And don't say anything more. And that gives you the opportunity to go, to come back later. And you have to come back later. You have to do it. You're the one that said, let me get back to you on that. So now you show up by, hey, I thought about that and I'm not available for that right now. And it's not, I have to do this and I have to do that, because they'll get in there and argue with you. And we want to teach them to respect our boundaries. Right? And we do that by respecting them ourselves. You can't give something away you don't have it. Or if you don't have, right? You can't give something away if you don't have it. So we're starting with respecting our boundaries with ourselves, setting those boundaries. I have a client who, her daughter was in her 20s and she'd been living there at the house, and she has other children. And the daughter was drinking, and it was, disruptive for the family. And it took her a while to set the boundary and make her leave. And now their relationship is closer than ever. And I bet that daughter respects her mother more than ever, right? She set a boundary with her. She'd let her know what was okay and what wasn't. And she took action to make sure that was known. I mean, we can say, oh, you can't be, doing that. And then just complain about it and not do anything about it. We set that boundary, and the freedom on that other side that she felt kind of uncomfortable at first. Heck, it took her long enough to set the boundary. But I'm telling you, there's freedom on the other side of that. There's definitely freedom on the other side. So say, here's your action step. Say no once this week to something that drains you, and use a boundary phrase with grace. So use one of the boundary phrases. Don't give up too much information. Just let them know that no, that doesn't work for me right now, or my plate is full right now. Just something simple. Something simple. So what did I talk about? Here's what we covered today. Recognizing the cost of relationship stress and begin reclaiming your energy. It's about noticing it, right? About being aware of it, and taking your power back. And then use a self-regulation practice to shift your nervous system from survival to safety. You can do it. Now you have a powerful skill that you can use anytime. Just take 3 deep breaths. And then start making small choices that put you back in your power. So fall in love with micro improvements. Fall in love with micro improvements. So the problem still remains. How do you stop the stress cycle for good and rebuild relationships with others and yourself, and actually feel nourishing? So, and if we don't get this handled, I mean, think of the relationships you've had or the stress that you have in your current relationships. So we know that if we don't get this handled, we stay in emotional overdrive, reacting instead of choosing, right? And then you waste your energy managing others instead of creating what you want, right? Yes. And then you continue feeling disconnected from your joy and your power. Just think about the last time you were in a room with someone that you felt this strain and stress with. But what if you could create relationships that are based on mutual respect and emotional safety? What would that be like? What would that be like? Or wake up feeling peaceful, centered, no matter what others are doing. What would that be like? Being grounded, and that's part of using that grounding exercise. And I have so many more. And that's what I teach when I do a hypnotherapy with you. I help you get your own grounding exercises, your anchors. Very powerful, very powerful. And then you lead with confidence and clarity instead of emotional chaos. That's what we're working for. Who knows about emotional chaos? Yep, we all know about emotional chaos. So I have about 7 spots available this week to do an Empowered Life Clarity Call. So it's a clarity call. And what we do is get clear on where you want to go. We often don't even think about, what is it I want? I put something in the group. I posted about what is it you want? And then we'll uncover what's keeping you stuck in old patterns. I'm getting really good at identifying those old patterns, helping you see those old patterns, because when you see them and what they are, then you can start unpacking them, right? And replacing them with what you do want to experience. And we'll create a path toward emotional freedom and deeper fulfillment. If you had relationships where they met you where you are, right? Wouldn't that be fulfilling? If you had relationships that didn't make you feel resentful or frustrated, wouldn't that be fulfilling? So type clarity in the chat if this message resonates with you, and we'll get on a call. But let's create a life where you come first and everything else flows from there. Like I said, take care of yourself well enough so that you feed others from your overflow. And I'll leave you with that. Hey, Jennifer. So anyway, I can't see comments. I got a call. I better go. If any of this resonated with you, share something, please. And hashtag live. If you're here live, you may not have a chance because I'm fixing to go off. Or hashtag replay. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Watch out for some new content. I'm writing more, and I have some great tools and things that you can really use. So keep your eyes open in the group, and for times when I go at everyone, I'm sharing something with you. Thank you. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.